Alrighty, how's it going, everybody? Haldo, and welcome to Tier Maker. I've got some. This is the Halloween music. If you want to know where this music's from, so there you go. Feel free to steal. I don't care. But it seems a little loud. But according to what I was listening to, it should be fine. So, as previously discussed in the month of October, real quick. I'm not sure if there's going to be any other videos uploaded this week, so this is your warning. It'll be in the description. I don't know yet. I have to see how the day goes, but I don't think there will be. But as we sort of cap off the end of the spooky season, it is now November, and I wanted to run you all through all the movies I watched, some new, some repeats. I didn't include all of them, because I watched some of the Friday the 13th movies, but I didn't really want to put some on the list. I was like, if I watched all of them, I would, but I didn't. So I decided I cut those. So I think I watched Friday the 13th parts 1, 2, and 3. I didn't include those. So real quick, I'm going to just run you through the tiers. S is a classic. You should watch it as a movie, not just a horror movie. It's fantastic. And I will almost certainly watch it again. A just means you're very good. You're a very good horror movie. You might even just be a very good movie. You're just not perfect. B means you were good. Does it mean you weren't great, but you definitely weren't just okay? I would watch you again. I would probably recommend you. C means you were okay. You were fine. You didn't do anything too crazy. You didn't do anything too terrible. You will probably be forgotten by the time I would consider watching you again. Party tier is sort of the realm between C and D, and so what I use that for is it's like the type of Halloween or the type of horror movie you'd want on at a Halloween party where if you want it on, people could watch it. But it's best if it's just kind of there and people notice little bits and pieces of it. It's not really great, but I mean, it's also not terrible. If someone does sit down through the party and just watches the whole thing, they're not going to be like, well, that movie was garbage, but they're probably not going to be like, that was the best movie I've ever seen. It's more like you're having a couple beers and you're like, oh, watch this scene, this is crazy, and then you ignore it for another 20 minutes. D means you were bad. You weren't the worst movie ever made, but you were not, to me, by the way, this is all my opinion, and this is my opinion at the end of the month. I bet if you went to my Letterboxd, this might not even follow my Letterboxd, because those were written right after I watched it, and this is me looking back on it, so it's what do I remember. There will probably be some recency bias, but when we pass to D is you're not good. I'm not going to watch you again. I wouldn't recommend you to people. You're not a good movie. And then F is you're not just bad, you're terrible. That means you made me mad, or you were so boring that it's if I wasn't trying to watch a horror movie every day, this was on, I would have turned you off at some point. It could have been in the middle, it could be right before the end, it could be at the very beginning, but it means I don't think you were worth watching, you were actually a waste of time. So basically D and F they're both bad, but I would finish D once to be alright, is there anything redeeming in this film? And F is now knowing what I know, I would not. I would recommend you a D or an F movie, but a D movie, watching it means I didn't have the urge to turn it off and move on with my life. F means I did. F means it's I'm only finishing this because I need to. Otherwise, this thing would be gonzo. So I don't know what order it put things in. I'm just going to go with the order it took the images in. Alright, so we're starting off with Bride of Chucky. And I think Bride of Chucky, of all the Chucky, that's probably the best one, in my opinion. I thought it was really fun. Tiffany is such a great character that you're shocked that it went that many Child's Play movies that she wasn't in. I can't remember the actress's name. What is her name? Bride of Chucky. Actress. Jennifer Tilly. She is great. She kills it. Let's just not get in trouble for whatever it's going to show. But she's wonderful, and she's having so much fun, and she really, to me, carries the movie. Like, Chucky is great, but Chucky and Tiffany together are fantastic. And some of these I'll have a lot to say about, some of them I won't. Also, I like it's a surprisingly emotional movie for a Chucky film, in that, like, what Tiffany wants out of her relationship with Chucky and what Chucky wants out of his relationship with Tiffany are completely different. And eventually that does end up being what, messes them up. And then, of course, the ending is so stupid with the baby getting born because she gestates a full baby in like 6 hours, which is really funny. All right, next is Frankenhooker. Frankenhooker, I would say, is party tier. It's really like a one-sentence joke that got dragged out into a movie. It's like, what if a guy Frankenstein monstered his girlfriend and used like prostitute parts? And it wasn't great, but it is the type of thing where I'm like, it wasn't the worst movie ever. I'll probably never watch it again, but it's like, if you needed something to put on at a Halloween party, that's your movie. Like, stuff will happen. It is really funny. He makes a drug called super crack, and if you do it, you explode. So basically, if you have something worth talking about, you will at least be party tier for me. If there's like one sunspot, one bright little area in your film, you will at least be party tier. I won't give you a D unless you are truly just bad. All right, The Beast Within was a surprise smash. I think it's A tier. I don't think it's S, but it's a very good A. It's the story of a boy who is being possessed by his mother's dead, I think you can figure out what word. Not her husband, not her boyfriend, but another person who can make a woman have a baby. It has some pretty cool, like, makeup effects. I thought the story was really good and interesting. I figured where it was going, but I still had a good time with it. It's also the most southern horror movie I've ever watched. Like, everyone has a southern drawl, and so I was just tickled by that. And I just thought it was really good. And the only thing I didn't really get is, there's all this talk about like cicadas, and so when he was transforming, I thought he was going to turn into a cicada monster, but he just kind of turns into like a monster man, and so I didn't really get why he didn't turn into a cicada, because, I mean, spoiler, even like the reason this is happening now is because it's been 17 years, which is like the cycle of cicadas, and then it's like, okay, so why didn't he turn into a big cicada? Why is he just like a moss man thing? I don't know. Okay, that's The People Under the Stairs? Yeah, The People Under the Stairs, that's probably C tier. I think it's a little bit better than party tier. It's Wes Craven. It's really weird because Wes Craven's a super white guy, and this is a very not white movie. The main character's name is Fool. He is called Fool the whole movie, which is odd, but it's goofy. It's a fun little it's sort of like a wacky house movie where it's like this house has all these hidden doors and hallways and corridors, and then of course there are the people under the stairs. It's probably a movie worth watching at least once just to see some pretty wacky stuff, but I think it is a little bit better than party tier. I think you'll get more out of it if you do watch the movie, not just like see bits and pieces, whereas something like Frankenhooker, you take a look at it, you see like prostitutes exploding, and then you see him put his girlfriend's head on a dead hooker's body, and you're like, okay, I got it, like, I know it, I get it. Alright, The Substance is next, and The Substance is going to be S tier. So, I think The Substance was probably one of the best modern horror movies I've ever seen, which doesn't mean a ton because I'm not a big modern horror person. I don't need to get into that in this. But I thought The Substance was very good. I will say, and this will come into play in like a second when we have another S tier about why I think certain S's are better than others. The Substance was a great first watch. When you don't know what's going to happen, it's such a great movie to follow. However, I feel like on a rewatch that this movie will be worthless. I don't feel the need to ever watch this movie. I think it's a fantastic movie, but I kind of got all I'm going to get out of it the first time I watched it. I don't think a second one would do me any favors. So it's a weird S because I'm like, it is a fantastic movie, but as far as rewatchability, it would be like D tier. Like once you know the plot, I don't feel like the transformation effects, I mean, they're cool, but they're not like scary, and honestly, they're not that gross in my opinion. So it's like, you don't come back for like the spectacle of it. It really was, you're watching it for the plot. And then once you've seen the story and you kind of know how it ends, it's kind of like a book. Like, there's a lot of books worth rereading, but also most books, it's like you read it for the story. Once you know how the story goes, you don't want to read it again because you already have the story in your brain. And some people might disagree with me on that, but that's my opinion on a lot of books. There's a lot of very good books I've read that I would never pick up again. It's not like, oh, I don't like the book. It's like, well, I know what happens, and the good part of the book is the story. So since I already know the story, I don't need to read it again. I remember the story. So we get to Carrie. Carrie is S tier, and it's definitely better than The Substance. I love the movie Carrie. This is the original. This is the like 79 or whatever version. It's such a sad movie where everyone loses. The nice people lose. The bad people get what's coming to them, but it's not even worth it because everyone's dead. 1 second. Okay, now that's this. I was wondering what that high-pitched sound was. You know me and my triggers. But Carrie is a classic. It always breaks my heart. Carrie's such an innocent girl who gets a little bit of a taste of power, which is fun. That'll tie in to whenever we get to the craft. Where did the craft go? Where is it? Where them hoes at? There's the craft. We'll get into that when we talk about the craft, but it is a similar idea of Carrie has been so helpless, and she finally gets a taste of power. And she doesn't even abuse it all that much until the end, but just the world isn't kind. And also the prom scene when she starts actually killing people, spoilers I think for all of these, I already said. The scene when she actually starts killing people is so well done when like the lights turn red and all she's doing is walking and she's just making all these things kill everyone. It's so good. Alright, Child's Play 2 is also going to be party tier. I'd probably put it below Frankenhooker. So by the way, Child's Play 1 isn't on here because I did watch Child's Play this year, although that was a repeat watch. All the Child's Plays other than... what? I had seen the first one, and a long time ago I had seen Bride and I had seen Seed. But other than that, I hadn't watched any of them. So Child's Play 2 is the most standard slasher movie. It's just Chucky, and he's being Chucky, and he's killing people every now and then, and they're like, here's the little boy killing people, and it's like, well, we already know Chucky's whole deal, so the mystery of what is going on in the first movie is gone. Even though it's not much of a mystery in the first movie, but it's basically just Child's Play, but kind of worse, but it is also the natural progression of the story. So this is Child's Play 3. Child's Play 3, I'd say it's a D. It's very close to an F. It's like a D minus. I think there's a little bit redeeming it towards the end, but for the most part, the movie's boring. It's incredibly boring. It's so boring that I would not recommend it. If I'm being honest, you should watch like Child's Play 1 and then skip 2 and 3. Just skip them. You're not missing anything. Just pretend Chucky dies at the end of the first one and then he comes back in Bride of Chucky. You'll have missed nothing. Everything about the military school is boring and it feels like a Goosebumps episode or Disney. Like the teen actors are just goofy and awful. And it's like Chucky could have won in the first like 15 minutes of the movie and just doesn't, because then there wouldn't be a movie. So that's Chucky 3. Chucky 3 is definitely the worst one. You know... Actually, I'm going to change my mind. I'm going to put it on F. I think most people, if you put on Chucky 3, you will turn it off. You will get bored before it's over. I don't think it even has the staying power. I would not finish it again. There were some good points, but nothing worth actually. I'm putting it in the F tier. Alright, that's Carson. This is Cult of Chucky. Cult of Chucky was the one when they're in the insane asylum. I'll give it... I think it's a B. It's not as good as Bride, but it was pretty fun, and the big twist with that, and that Chucky has learned how to like split his soul into multiple dolls, is really fun, and it's like, wow, an actual original way to explore the idea. I thought that was pretty cool. I think that's the lead into the TV show, and I do want to watch the TV show. So after I watch the TV show, that may influence my opinion on the Cult of Chucky. I thought it was pretty good. And it goes hand in hand with Curse of Chucky. Curse of Chucky, I think I'm also gonna give a B, but I'm gonna put it above Cult of Chucky. Cause I just think it was a better horror movie. I think the family dynamic is really interesting. I loved the joke. So in Curse of Chucky, the main character's sister and her husband come, and they're like super rich, and they have a maid, and they keep hinting that the dad is having an affair with the au pair, the maid, whatever the fuck she was. And then there's a big twist that's actually the wife who's cheating on the husband with the au pair. And I was like, that's good. Like, they got me, because they're being so on the nose. Like, the husband is always like, has anyone seen, like, I don't remember her name. It's like, has anyone seen Bella? Like, where's she at? And then, like, eventually the wife is alone with her, and they start making out, and it's like, I think your husband's on to us. And I thought that was so funny. But I think Curse of Chucky was a very good revival of the series. And I was like, if you can keep up the level of Curse of Chucky, then you can let Chucky live again. And also credit to Curse of Chucky, because it's a 2010s remake of a 90s horror movie that didn't kill the series. Although I guess Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street, they were 80s, 70s, whatever. But it was a slasher's return to prominence, and it didn't kill the franchise, which is, to me, a big deal. All right, next we have, I gotta not mix with Dawn of the Dead. I think it's gonna be a B for me, but it's definitely higher than Curse of Chucky. So Dawn of the Dead, George Romero's second of the Dead movie. It's very bleak. It's very weird. There's these weird comedic moments that they throw me off. I guess it was just like he thought it'd be funny. Like, there's scenes of just zombies walking around playing like Benny Hill-esque music, and like the credits are playing silly music. It's like, I thought you wanted to scare me, but I guess not. But this one is like, just like Night of the Living Dead, most of the zombies are in like that gray face paint. Not really, like, they don't look very dead. They're just gray. I appreciate, once again, it's not the zombies that get you, it's other people who make it so the zombies can get you. Like, the zombies are the threat, but the greatest threat is other people. I thought it was sad that the pilot, the boyfriend or the husband or whatever, it's very interesting because that one is, to me, the one, they say it more loudly, I think, in Day of the Dead when we get to it. But Dawn of the Dead, the original one, is very much, the point is the characters all have different opinions on what's going to happen, because the husband, or the whatever, he's not the husband, he's the boyfriend, he proposes to his girlfriend, and he's always trying to watch the TV to see what the next steps are going to be. So he's very much of the mind that this will all be over soon. And then our lead is very much not of that mind. Like, he proposes to her and she says no, because she's like, I just can't see us being happily married while all of this is going on. So for the boyfriend, he's thinking, well, when this is over, then we can get married. And she's thinking, we would just be engaged forever because this is never going to end. So it is very bleak, which might be what the comedy's for, is to sort of chill you out. All right. Next up, we have Lisa Frankenstein. And I'm going to put Lisa Frankenstein... Where am I going to put it? Reminder, this is my program. I think I'm going to put it at... It's either going to be the top of the B tier or the A's. I think it's a high B. Yeah, I'll be nice. No, fuck it. Low A. Lisa Frankenstein. What is this woman's name? Okay, scroll down. Here's Frankenstein. Okay, this Catherine Newton woman. I don't know what her deal is, but every movie I've watched her in, which is only 2, I've only seen her in that and Freaky. But I also really liked Freaky. So my opinion is, if you see, Catherine Newton, if you see a horror movie and it has Catherine Newton as the lead, I'm gonna watch it, because every single one, they're not the best movies ever made, but goddamn are they entertaining. The concept is simple. Corpse gets brought to life. She starts murdering people to give it better body parts. And it's just a fun little romp. I thought the characters are well done. it kind of, I was sort of like, can we get to something towards the start? But once it really got going, I was like, all right, I'm on board, I'm strapped in, I'm ready to go. So give it a whirl if you want to. All right, next is Seed of Chucky. I'm going to give Seed of Chucky, what is it going to be? This says a lot about it. I'm giving it an A2. Seed of Chucky I'd seen before. It's very much the Scream of Chucky films because it's definitely a black comedy more than a comedy. You have, by the end of the movie, the doll Tiffany has possessed the actress who voices Tiffany in the Chucky movies. And it's just a coincidence they have the exact same voice. And that she looks like Tiffany looked when Tiffany was a person. It's very funny. It's surprisingly progressive because Chucky's child is, I guess, I don't know how that works. They're either gender fluid. I think they're gender fluid because I think they literally turn from a boy to a girl depending on the situation. And the fun part is the boy is actually sweet and kind like Tiffany wants to be, whereas it's actually the girl who has Chucky's mannerisms and is more violent and sadistic. But Seed of Chucky is very fun. I put it lower than Bride of Chucky because it doesn't have that heart to it. It's very fun. It is made by people who definitely love the Chucky series, but it just doesn't have that emotional impact. It's definitely all just on the nose funniness. All right, the Boneyard. I would say the Boneyard is a high C. Boneyard's high C. Try not to mix up with another one. So if I remember, the Boneyard starts out, and there's like a detective who has psychic powers. And I was watching, I was like, oh, this is just gonna be like, because it looks like a TV show. Like it looks like a pilot for some kind of police show from the 80s. And things just, I won't spoil this one because you should definitely give the Boneyard a shot. Because for some people, I bet they'd love the Boneyard. Things go crazy. And that was sort of the fun of it for me. I was like, this movie started out so plain. And it turned out like underneath that dull dress, there was some crazy undergarments. I don't really get why it's called the Boneyard. I think that's what they call because they're going there to investigate these murders that have happened. I think they go to the morgue too, if I remember right. They went to the morgue, and I think they call the morgue the Boneyard. So I guess that's why it's called the Boneyard. Anyway. Next we have The Craft, and The Craft is going to be an A. I'm actually being way more positive than I thought I would be. I'm going to put it above Lisa Frankenstein, and I'm going to leave it there because I just remembered the CGI. So the plot of The Craft is these teen girls get witch powers, and basically what happens is what would happen if vapid teenagers could do whatever they wanted with magic powers. And the answer is they would bully people because teenagers are mean. It's a really good movie. I'd say its only flaw is the last 15 minutes devolves into 90s CGI throw up, and it looks so awful. But I like the characters, I like the story. It's a very good movie, and it's probably one of the best 90s horror movies that I've seen, and it's probably one of the best witch movies I've ever seen. All right, The Descent. The Descent. For me, I would put The Descent in party tier. I'd put it at the top of the party tier. I really liked this movie going in. I liked the character dynamic. They're all friends, and then they get trapped in this cave. And it's a crazy movie because for me, the worst part was once the monsters showed up, the movie devolves into an hour of women screaming that they don't know where they are. And then when they scream that they don't know where they are, these bat people eat them. And I was just like, man, they lost me on this one, which was a shame. But I know a lot of people love The Descent, but I just didn't think it was scary. I don't think the monsters held up. And I also don't really think they looked that scary either. But that's just my opinion. They just didn't seem that... It's like if you would all just shut up and walk quietly. They can't really seem to do anything unless you bang around. Except for at the end when they do. And the ending was weird. I looked it up later, so apparently the original ending is one thing, and they I think mine had the original ending, but the studio said it was too dark, and so they made a second ending that is just they cut out. There's like a dream sequence, and then the girl wakes up and realizes she's still in the cave, and like the implication is she dies. But the theater ending is just the dream sequence is the ending, and you don't find out it's a dream. And I was like, that seems weird, but whatever. So The Descent, it really had me hooked for the first chunk, and then once the monster showed up, I could have fast forwarded through the movie and I would have been fine with it. But I think you could have it on at a party. People would be seeing women getting ate up by bat people, and oh, that's crazy. But yeah. Anyway, next we have the Black Phone. Black Phone's going in the S tier, and I'm going to put it. Is it above The Substance? Is it not? I'm going to put it below The Substance. But I'm going to clarify. I would watch the Black Phone again. I would not watch The Substance again. But I think on the first viewing of The Substance is stronger than the Black Phone. But on repeat, the Black Phone would definitely be above The Substance. There's not a ton for me to say about this one. I just thought it was good. I thought it was great. And I actually watched it because I want to watch the Black Phone 2, and I want to know what's going on. Because the Black Phone 2 looks like they're doing a Nightmare on Elm Street thing. And so I wanted to see this one so I could at least know what's going on before I watch the Black Phone 2. But it's very good. If you haven't seen it, I'd recommend it. The masks are awesome. I found out Tom Savini did them, and I was like, oh, of course he did. They look great, and so he must have been involved. That just makes sense. Next is The Fly, and The Fly is also going in the S tier, and I like Carrie more, but I like The Fly a lot. It's my favorite Jeff Goldblum movie. It's one of my favorite horror movies. It's my second favorite Cronenberg movie. It's just a great movie that really focuses... It's basically The Substance adjacent, where the focus is on a body transformation, but there's just so much more focus on the transformation itself, whereas in The Substance, it's like the transformation is sort of the oopsie of the plot happening, whereas the plot in The Fly is the transformation. If you've never seen it, it's great. The movie basically tells you what's happening 1 minute in. You're going to know exactly where we're going, but it's still a fun ride. Alright, now we have Dawn of the Dead from 2004, and this will shock people. I'm going to put it above Seed of Chucky in the A tier. I thought it was pretty good. I was shocked. I came in an absolute hater. I was like, this is a Zack Snyder remake of a George Romero movie, and it's going to suck. And I was entertained. That's all I can really say. I was entertained by it. It hit the beats that I wanted it to hit. The ending seems overly negative and also kind of stupid, but it won my heart. It even did like the humorous bits from the other Dawn of the Dead. It was like, and at this point we have to do a comedy thing because that's what the other one did, and it's very different from the original movie. Completely different setup. I don't know why the zombies like roar and make cat noises in this one, but they do. But it was good. I think I would rather watch it than watch the other Dawn of the Dead. Now, next up we have Day of the Dead. I'm going to put Day of the Dead at the top of the A tier. I think of all of these of the Dead movies, including Night of the Living Dead, I think Day of the Dead is the best one. Bar none. The zombies are so much scarier looking. The threat is so much more graphic, because in the other ones, like, they bite people and they kill people. In this movie, they will rip you to shreds to eat you. And it's, I guess after making 2 of these, Tom Savini has like gotten in his groove on doing the makeup, because it's so good. The effects are so great. And it's because the first one and the second one, so the Night of the Living Dead follows normal people on the night it all starts. Dawn of the Dead follows normal-ish people. They're like in the media, but basically they're normal people dealing with it. Now we're finally seeing what the government is doing behind the scenes. And so it's even bleaker, because you realize they are just as in the dark as everyone else. But it's great. I love the characters. It's a banger. I don't quite think it's S tier, but it's definitely an A+. Shocker is party tier. And of these, it's definitely the bottom of party tier. What a weird fucking movie, to say the least. Because, like, you see the thing, he's in the chair, he's got the lightning powers, or, like, the lightning everywhere. So you're like, oh, so, like, does he do stuff with electricity? And it's like, no, not until the end. Like, for the most of the movie, he's just a ghost possessing people. And it may have just been my DVD, but it seemed like there was a lot of edits or something, because, like, he would possess people, and then it would, like, the next time we saw him possessing that person, he was already, like, on the ground possessing the next one. And it's like, well, why did you have to show me him possessing this guy if he's not going to do anything while he possessed him? But it's like, this dude's girlfriend is a ghost that talks to him in his dreams and has a magical ring and all this shit. And it's like, what in the fuck is going on here? I mean, I knew what the plot was. I was like, this is such a weird fucking movie. And then at the end, like, his ghost girlfriend just, like, lives in his brain. I'm like, is this a good thing? I don't know. But that was shocker. It's definitely something you can put on a party. People are getting murdered. There's weird stuff to just be on the TV. But as far as, like, actually following it, I mean, you can try, but there's not a lot there. Next up, we have Sleepaway Camp 2. It's going to be in the party tier. It's just a slasher. It's nothing special. She quips every time she kills people. I'm going to put it above Child's Play 2 because it is a little more fun, but it's also really dumb. I don't have a ton to say about it. It's weird because, like, the big twist of the original Sleepaway Camp, that the girl was actually her brother, just gets resolved in this one by her being like, I got a sex change. That's why I'm played by a woman now, and you're not going to see a penis. And it's like, oh, okay. Whatever floats your boat. But it was fine. Okay, Summer of Fear, I'm going to give it D. Summer of Fear should have been solved in the first 15 minutes of the movie. Okay, by the way, it's called Summer of Fear, or, like, The Stranger in Our House. And it's the girl from The Exorcist, and this other girl moves in and, like, steals her room, steals her boyfriend, gets her horse killed, like, does all this evil magic shit. And then it's like, at what point do you not just go crazy and, like, beat the shit out of this girl? Like, witch or not, like, just fucking punch your teeth in. And then it gets kind of crazy towards the end, but the whole movie's just being aggravated. The main lead just is, like, a whiny little girl, which, I mean, she is a little girl, but it's like she's just being a whiny little bitch while this other girl just mows over her life. So it was very frustrating. I would not watch it again, but it was... Wes Craven's not doing so hot on this list, if you haven't noticed. Next is Dark Knight of the Scarecrow, and I'm going to put that at B. I'm going to put that at the bottom of the B tier. So this was a made-for-television movie. Of all of these, let me look at the bottom. Of all of these, it's probably the most Halloween-appropriate movie. It oozes fall. And it's also, in my opinion, if you had like a 12 or a 13-year-old and you kind of want to introduce them to the horror genre, it's pretty good for what it is. Like, people are murdered, but it's not super graphic. It's a great way to ease you into what to expect from our movie because the stalking is there, the murders are there, but it's not so over the top and graphic that I think you would actually be, like, terribly scared, even if you were a younger person. And so for that, I'm going to give it a B. Okay, next is Deadly Friend. Deadly Friend's going in the F tier. It's going above Child's Play 3 because at least I wasn't bored the whole movie. But it was bad. It sucked. A girl dies and this dude, like, puts a robot nano chip in her brain. And she just starts killing people, and then she dies, and then her skin comes off, and she's a robot, and the movie ends, and it was like, what in the fuck is this movie? I don't even know why it's called Deadly Friend. I don't get if that's a pun based on something. Like, I can only think of, like, Silent Night Deadly, and I don't know why it's called Deadly Friend. And the robot, he has a robot originally that gets destroyed, and then he puts the robot's chip in the dead girl's brain, but the robot is so annoying. It's so annoying. So, Child's Play 3 is an F because it is incredibly dull. Deadly Friend is an F because it's so annoying, and it's like, can you just end? Next is Orca. Orca is going to the top of the party tier. Orca is a Jaws ripoff with a killer whale instead of a shark. But this killer whale is crazy. This killer whale, like, knocks over propane tanks that lead to, like, huge trails of gasoline that blow up a house. It's crazy what the orca can accomplish. And then it like challenges this dude to basically have a duel with it in the middle of the ocean. He's like, I accept, and then goes out in the ocean to fight it. And I was like, I would not have done that. But that's orca. Next up we have the deadly spawn. Why can't I? I'm gonna put the deadly spawn on the top of the C tier. Deadly spawn has great puppets. They're these worm things with teeth. And there's a great ending where one is just absolutely ginormous. And you know it's coming because like, why are we all of a sudden looking at a model of their house instead of the house? And then you're like, oh, because there's a really big worm that's about to be bigger than it. But it's really cool puppets, but I dropped my pen. Second. So it's really cool puppets, but the plot is just basically there's these worms and they eat people, and it's just following these dudes like wandering around their own house, somehow not getting eaten by these worms until they start getting eaten by these worms. And then they get eaten by the worms and the movie kind of ends because the government shows up. So it's okay. It would definitely also be great on the party tier, but I think it is a bit better. I think it is worth a watch, whereas everything in the party tier, it's like, you don't need to pay the most. Yeah, you know, by that logic, it really should be in the party tier. But you can say the same about the Boneyard. So I'll move past that. I'll just leave it at the top of the C tier. Okay, we're going to do X next because I need to do X and then Pro. So X, I'm going to give party tier. And I'm going to put it after Sleepaway Camp, but before Child's Play 2. It is a standard slasher. It is nothing special. That is my opinion of X. Is it bad? No. But it is forgettable. It is a generic slasher. People go out to a farm to film a porno, and then they start getting murdered. That's it. No crazy anything. And it's very annoying. Let's get into Pearl, because Pearl's F tier, and Pearl's the bottom of the F tier. It's easily my least favorite movie of all of them. And it ties into X, what I'm going to say. So, in X, at least my understanding of it is... So the murderers in X are an old couple. And from what I understood of the first movie, the reason they start killing people is because Pearl, the wife, is making love to the dead bodies or the dying people, or a combination thereof. And she's doing that because her husband is so old that if he made love to her, he could have a heart attack and die. So they've sort of agreed to this setup because that sort of, he wants to make her happy and she wants to have sex. So Pearl comes along and is like, actually no, she was like a crazy horny idiot even when she was a young woman. And so in my opinion, it made X worse. And there was no game because I thought Pearl was a piece of shit. Like, it makes me... The character just sucks. She's not fun to follow. She's stupid. She's horny. And she just gets away with everything through sheer luck. So, like, her story is not interesting. She has her, like, beef with her mom. And then it's like, well, luckily for her, her mom catches herself on fire, which lets her throw her in the basement. It's just not good. I didn't like it. I thought it was terrible. I know there's a third one. I'm not going to watch it. Because X was fine. Nothing crazy. Not particularly good, but it was fine. But Pearl was awful. And it was miserable to watch. Alright, next is Predator. Predator's going... Where's Predator going? It's either going in the S tier or the A tier. I'm going to put it at the bottom of the S tier. So my thing with Predator, and Predator is getting this high up because I watched it recently, and that matters. Because every time I watch the movie Predator, it's better than I remembered it being. Like, if I had not watched Predator, you just said put it on this list, Predator's like, but it's A tier, it's probably like around the crap, it's probably like under the Beast Within or tied with the Beast Within. It'd probably be like here. But... rewatch Predator if you haven't watched in a while. It's a very fun movie, for sure. It's way more entertaining and captivating than I always remember it being. And then I put it on, I'm like, oh man, this movie's fantastic. Next is The Boogans. The Boogans is going to be party tier, and I'm going to put it, it's above X, probably below Sleepaway Camp. And what I'll do at the end of this, by the way, for the party tier is I'll put a line in the sand. And I'll be like, if you made me, it'd be like, these are C tiers and these are D tiers. So, The Boogans is a movie on a budget. And it shows the dog in it, I think his name was Tiger, is crazy. The stuff they make this dog do. The movie's also weird because they kill off the dog, but then the dog doesn't die. And then it gets killed off in like the next scene. And it's like, why didn't you just have 2 dogs? But they also couldn't afford 2 monsters. So... And it's very funny because at the end they're trying to be like, there's a ton of monsters running around like going crazy and shit. And then it's like they very clearly only had the one puppet because they never can show 2 at once. They have to like tilt the camera and suddenly like, oh, monster's coming out of that hole. And now on a separate shot, a monster's coming out of a different located hole. So there's definitely more than one of them. It was very okay. Nothing crazy, but it's fine to have it on. People will pay attention when the monster's doing stuff. And then when it's not, you don't really need to care. All right, and then last we have Prophecy. And I'm going to say Prophecy. Prophecy is probably... It's going to be either before or after Boogans, because they have a lot in common. I'm going to put it before X. So it's just a hippie movie, basically. It's like, don't pollute the environment, and then if you're patient enough to sit through the hippies talking about soil samples, you get to see a really cool bear monster. And that's kind of it. So the monster's really cool, but the actual movie itself just leaves a lot to be desired. I thought the rest of it was pretty boring. It was like, I need more scenes with the bear and less scenes of hippies talking. Alright, so now that... So that's the list of all the movies I watched this October that I thought were worth bringing in here. So we're not going to put the Friday the 13th on here that I did watch. But if I had to draw the line, I said, what is C and what is D? I would say, so that's definitely D, D. That's a D. Prophecy's probably a D. Boogan's probably a D. So I would say, well, let me be fair. What did I say? I said D. D, I was willing to get to the end. As far as passable, I'd probably pick like Orca's passable, Synth's passable, Frank Oga's passable. I'd probably put the line after Sleepaway Camp 2. I think that's a good spot to put it. So like C, I would be willing to watch again. I mean, I'd be willing to watch like, well, if I'm willing to watch it again. So I guess put the line after Boogans. Boogans I'd be willing to watch again, just for the dog. And then anything below that I would not watch again. And anything in D or F, I would say never watch it. Anything in this type of, I mean, you can watch it. I don't think it'll blow your socks off, but it can be interesting. Whereas D and F, I'd be like, don't even bother. It's a waste of time. But there you go. There's your Vocabhawk Halloween movie tier list. I don't know if there's gonna be any more videos this week. I haven't recorded any. I think I'm gonna take this week off. I might even take next week off. You'll know if videos start coming up. But basically, I need to get ahead for Christmas, and I'm behind because I spend every afternoon in Halloween or in October watching all these fucking movies. So I appreciate your patience. I thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you guys next. I am gonna finish the Haunted PS1 stuff. And there's actually a couple more horror games I want to play, so there'll be a little bit more horror through November, and then probably December we'll move on to something else. But thank you all for watching. I'll see you next time, and I hope you have a great day. Goodbye.